Women Innovators. Interviews with women with big messages and big missions, sharing their stories to inspire you to live your passion and step up to make the world a better place. Here's your host, Tami Patzer.
Hi, this is Tami Patzer, and I'm really excited to introduce today's guest, Mery DOMINGUEZ. Mery is an international best-selling author, professional speaker, and life coach helping families and businesses connect and get what they want with ease and confidence. She is the CEO of ParenTeen Moments and works with educators and families to improve relationships and develop partnerships that will support raising successful and self-empowered adults. Welcome, Mery.
Thank you, Tami. It's actually honored and such a pleasure to be here with you today.
Well, thank you. Tell me more about ParenTeen Moments and who you help.
Well, ParenTeen Moments is, I want to call it as a vehicle. It's definitely, geared to support families and help families and businesses grow. I want to say that. I'm sorry. It's ready. Okay, so ParenTeen Moments, helps educators and parents and who have a desire to see your youth succeed in raising and reaching their fullest potential and becoming productive adults and just adults of service in our community.
So how exactly does the ParenTeen Moments program work?
Well, we provide different events. We also collaborate with different organizations such as schools, after-school programs, religious institutions, in order to provide these tools and resources for our families to be together, to strengthen their relationships. So that's what we do. Yes.
So what are some of the problems that you find that, obviously, think about it. Being a teenager, it's a really rough, tough time in our lives. Being a parent of a teenager, that's a whole nother story. What are some of the biggest issues or problems that you find out in the community level that can actually be addressed and changed so that the parents and teens can create better relationships?
Well, Tami, I find that there are, I want to narrow it down, but the three biggest problems that we've noticed and what ParenTeen Moments addresses is, one, the lack of activities that there are, for parents of middle school and high school students mostly. There's a lot when they're children and we have, the play dates and everyone's excited and the kids are excited to go and get in the car and go do these fun things. However, what I find with parents is what do I do with my kid? I feel I'm in constant competition with the cell phone or electronic devices, and there's a disconnection between the parents and the children. So with ParenTeen Moments, it's almost like taking the stress away from what to plan, what do you want to do. It's something that is done for you, where we're offering different events throughout the community and really inviting these families to come out and enjoy. So definitely the lack of activities is one of those problems that we address. The lack of communication among the adolescents and the parents and the teachers. I think that when our children are young, again, in the elementary school, they have that one teacher that as parents we just love, and some not love so much, but in the most part, we can address just one teacher, and that teacher knows everything about our child, and we feel comfortable, either emailing or talking to this person. However, as they age, when they go into the middle school and high school, now we're dealing with 6, 7, maybe even 8 teachers, and that communication just falls down the wayside. and the students are not, their kids are not communicating with their parents what their needs are, and it's just, how do we bridge that gap? So that's what ParenTeen Moments does. We, through our events, through the collaborations that we build in our schools and other organizations, we're able to bridge those gaps, and now the parents can feel comfortable in addressing the needs that they have that will help those kids. And I think the third one is a lack of connection that exists just in our own community. Everyone is stressed about life, and people have these busy schedules. I mean, I see parents working 2 jobs, or even the high CEOs that we work with, and they're working long hours, and yet when they come home, it's just like there is no time to set that communication. So what do we talk about? Like what's really meaningful conversation? So through ParenTeen Moments events, we're able to create those special moments where even the busiest of the busiest can just take a little bit of time and really make it a meaningful connection with their child and with other members of the community and like-minded parents.
Well, I can really see how technology has really interfered with the family structure, because if you watch people, and even little, we're talking about 1-year-old babies playing with a cell phone. The parent shoves the cell phone into their hand to occupy them. And so kids today are growing up literally with a phone or a tablet or computer in their hands with their head down, and it's amazing that anyone even talks to one another today, because it is so different. So with ParenTeen Moments, you go out and you do some talks, and you have some coaching, and you have events. What would this look like if I wanted to do something with ParenTeen Moments? What would our conversation sound like, or what should I be asking you to get the most out of working with you?
That's a very good question. And yes, you mentioned, I totally agree with the whole, cell phones. It's almost like they're taking over. We thought that we would be taken over by Martians one day, but who knew? It's cell phones. And it happens with, parents too. Like, I have to catch myself and say, I'm going to put my phone down too, and make a deliberate intention to connect. And I find that many cases, there's, parents that, come to me and saying, well, what do I do to make my kids, listen? Or if sometimes I feel like I'm not wanted by my child, what's going on? I used to be a superhero. And that's where the coaching definitely, comes into play, because it's almost like teaching a different language. I think that because of technology, you mentioned, many times, even the little young ones, they take the phones, and we're using the phones as nannies sometimes. Like, here, you take care of that, and now I'm able to do the rest of the things, 1,001 things that I need to do. And as they grow, then they feel that, well, there is no need to connect. There is no need to create conversation. So with our coaching programs, then we're able to get families to connect, to talk, to really create these deliberate intentions to put it on their schedule, to find out what's really stressing them, and eliminating, or not eliminating the stress, but learning the techniques to cope with the stress, and really engage with their kids, how to engage. Because sometimes, especially as our kids grow older, and I'm talking about, the tween years, between 12 and 18, it's almost like they want to be independent. And as parents, we want to see them happy, so we're like, okay, fine, it's okay, just go to your room, and it's fine, it's making you happy. But they long for that. We're individuals that we need connection. We need each other. And the more we give that space, then we're breaking that connection. So that's another thing as far as if we're not ready for the coaching section of it, definitely the events are just fun, and it's a great way to connect also with other parents when you see you're not alone, because one of the worst feelings that I hear of the most common is I just feel alone. And I don't know about you, Tami, if you've ever felt alone before, but it comes up often, and I think that these parenting moment events allow parents to feel that they are in the same situation with others. They are confronting the same challenges, and among each other, we just get amazing ideas on how to really support our kids, to become successful, because that's what we really want. We want them to grow up and really even have a better life than we have.
So what would the events look like? What do you do at these events? One of the questions that comes to my mind is, okay, and I went through 3 teenagers, and one of them, he always went out to eat with me, and we hung out, so that was no big deal. But how do you get your child or your teen to want to come to one of these parent teen events? What are the events? What are you doing at them?
Well, they vary, and it's an excellent question, because it's always about, okay, so how am I going to convince my child who thinks he no longer is a child to come to this? And it really is about listening to what the kids want. So I'm always, conducting research and looking into doing surveys among teenagers. And I also, in these events, for instance, like let's take bowling, so a lot of, just after a survey and putting out different questions as far as what kind of activity would you enjoy doing with your parents. And I give them, several options. So let's say that of the several options, the bowling comes up as one of the tops, and they say, okay, so we will work with a business, which is actually one of the ways that we operate, is working with a business that wants to actually be promoted and sees their vision, because it's also about, the business loving what we do and wanting to connect families as well. And they pretty much allow us to come in one Sunday and invite, as we promote our events, we invite parents to come. And the great thing is that kids will tell other kids, so it's going to be fun. It's not the same as you going bowling by yourself with your kid. It's really about, well, I want to go because my friend is going and her friend is going and this kid that I like is going. And now it just becomes an opportunity for you to actually get to meet your friend's friends. I mean, how often does that happen where, I know back in the days, we knew all of our, the parents of our kids' friends, but now it's almost like, no one's even calling the house anymore, let alone some people don't even have a house line. so if
you're right.
Right?
It's all about the text, the communications.
Text, right.
Communications, my parents could monitor my telephone calls very easily because there was one telephone and it was in the middle of the house and they'd normally be right there, so they knew who was calling and they could hear what the conversation was. And today, with computers and cell phones, you can have a very private life that your parents might not know about. So that sounds like fun. So a good example might be a bowling event. And how is all of this paid for? Because I know that sometimes money, like you said, a lot of parents are working 2 jobs, or they're juggling finances. Maybe they're a single parent. How are these events funded?
Well, thanks to our business partners, and they basically become our sponsors. And that's one of the beauties, of ParenTeen Moments, is because, we're able to deliver talks to our schools. We're able to create these events, and in many cases, the events are very low cost, and just because of the fact that our sponsors are making these possible. They really want to provide the opportunity for these kids, especially these teenagers, to connect, to learn soft skills that there are many of, because even the cell phone, like you mentioned, it's a text, and no one's even calling the house to say, good morning, Mr. Johnson, can I speak to, so-and-so? That doesn't happen. Rarely happens. So the fact that we are, creating these events, we are teaching these skills to our youth today. And businesses appreciate that, too, because they know that the kids are getting this interaction. They're interacting with other adults. And this is going to be a gateway for customer service later on. We're able to mingle and get out of our comfort zone as well and be okay with that. So many of our business partners, either they allow us to sponsor the events through donations. They will, because they also benefit from it because of the promotion. Now perhaps you've never heard of this bowling alley, and now that we did our event there, you love it, you have a great time, and it creates the opportunity for you to come back on your own time. So different organizations such as restaurants that they might, just open their doors there or provide food at a specific venue. And now you've tasted a cuisine that it's just been something amazing that you never even knew about that restaurant. So they get the benefit as well. It's totally a win-win situation. And the families, especially low-income families, are able to also come and share these moments that they probably would have not been able to do, unless they were organized by us.
Oh, I really like that. You also have a very interesting background because you come from education. So ParenTeen Moments also meets the requirements of Title I and 21st Century grants. Can you expand on that a little bit more for our educators in the audience?
Absolutely. I definitely, I've been teaching for 22 years, and many of the information that schools want to get out to the parents, that parents would like to receive from the school, is something that we make available, through our talks. Like you mentioned, the different grants, Title I, 21st Century. I mean, when you talk to schools and when I present at schools, many of them, they just know that they're amazing opportunities, with these grants, but it does involve a lot of paperwork, a lot of documentation, data, and that's something that ParenTeen Moments also takes care of, So as a school, you can rest assured that by allowing ParenTeen Moments to come in and work with you, we are guaranteeing to increase the parental engagement. Parents know that when they come to one of our talks at our school, that they're going to leave with tangible tools that they can start using at home, and they also feel a welcoming climate. We're getting our sponsors out there to their schools as well, so we're able to provide our parents with the hospitality, not just from a great building, but we are able to also just transform that space into a place that's inviting for our parents. I mean, they're tired, it's been a long day, and the last that they want is now to go in to just listen to another lecture. They want to know that they're being heard and that the information that's being provided to them is something that's really going to support them in raising their successful adults. And I think that I see a lot of parents, they feel like the schools don't really care. And because I'm a teacher, I've been a teacher for so long, I know that that's the furthest from the truth, because schools do care. I mean, and schools really are hungry to see parents, being there for their kids. And their kids sometimes, they don't communicate effectively, but, we also provide different tools for the schools to be able to communicate the information to the parents, and the parents are in the loop of what's going on.
Well, I think you're right. I mean, to be a teacher or someone who works in the schools, you're taking on a huge responsibility, and every teacher I've ever known has always been the type of person who was really thinking about the impact that they could have on a person's life so that when they did grow up and they would become good, responsible adults who could think for themselves and go out into the world. And I think it is really important because you're dealing with three distinct people or types of people. You have the teens, and then you have the parents, and then, of course, you have the schools and the teachers. So tell me a little bit more about maybe some techniques or practical tools that you could give our audience so that today they can say, okay, when I listened to Tami and Mery today, I walked away with these practical tools and techniques. Do you have maybe three you could share?
Thank you. I actually do have exactly three, and these are three practical tools that I help, that I basically created to help the partnerships between the parents and the teachers. We mentioned both groups, and I am, part of those groups because I'm also a parent. I have a 26-year-old, and I think I did, pretty well with, even though her latest gadget was a sidekick maybe or a flip phone. So my 16-year-old now, obviously there's a lot more, competition out there and as far as, what's taking over. But what I really encourage our families and in our schools to bear in mind are the 3 C's. So my 3 C's are commitment, consistency, and collaboration. So what I mean by commitment, my first C, is that responsibility that we create both as a parent and as a teacher. So if you're a parent, then you understand that this is a commitment. It's not where, now because they can tie their own shoes, they can do everything else. I mean, we understand that it goes beyond just they're fed, but and we have clothes on their back, but it's also knowing that we have a commitment with knowing what's going on with them every day, asking questions to the teachers. And sometimes as parents, we don't feel comfortable, just going in there, I don't want to bother the teacher, they're going to think whatever, and I don't want to be a helicopter parent. And on the teacher side, sometimes, we kind of feel like, it's true. We don't want the helicopter parent because it can be a little nerve-wracking for the child themselves. It's a little bit, sometimes they feel a little embarrassed. Okay, my mom's here again. What's going on? But there is definitely ways that this can be done. First, I would advise to set a way of communication. And I provide a template, which is, a simple letter that it can be emailed to the teacher at any time of the year, and just find out what is the best way to communicate with that child's teacher. And if you're doing it through email, then you can find out, email all 7 teachers that same note. They will reply, and at least give them 24 to 48 hours to reply. So we have to be patient as parents, and just basically the template. Which if you don't have a template, you can write it yourself. Is it email the best way to communicate with you? Is it by phone? What's the best number? Is it a visit? What's the best time to visit you? And let the teacher tell you. And there are different ways. So just because it works for one way, this person does not mean it works that same way for someone else. So you have to just, stay committed to the role as a parent, and as teachers, stay committed to your role as a teacher, because we both want the same for the children. We both want them to be successful. The number 2 is consistency. And, we understand that parents are busy, and yes, teachers are busy too. I mean, let alone, I know that one of the complaints of teachers is, we don't get paid enough. Why? Because it's not just about the 8 hours that we're at work, but, every teacher knows that we take a load home, and I did that for many years as well. But it's also about knowing that we need to be consistent on what we say we're going to do. So if we establish a relationship, if we establish a form of communication, and it's going to happen, every quarter, which would be 4 times a year, then we're consistent with that. We don't know, perhaps, sometimes we're so stressed about situations, and stress is one thing that we talk about a lot, and we can't control the things that stress us as far as things are going to happen, but we definitely can control our reaction to the stress. And if you go on my website, there I invite you to go on my website and take a stress test. It's free, but it's really it's an eye opener to realize how much stress you're handling, and just create some tools to allow you to deal with that. So definitely consistency is key, because I find consistency to be right there with discipline. You're disciplined to the same way that you say if you want to lose weight and you develop a plan to work out. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It could just be 10 minutes earlier. I'm going to wake up and I'm going to take a short walk. Well, the same thing would be as consistent. Well, 10 minutes before I go into work, I'm just going to shoot an email. So it's just something that you agree with yourself and with your teachers in this case. Collaboration, and I think collaboration is such a big thing, because sometimes as parents we feel like, well, how much collaboration is too much, or maybe the school's not doing enough for me. I think that they should be doing more. And we know clearly, depending on the socioeconomic I would say level of the parents, a lot of times it's reflected on the school. You have some schools that they have active PTAs or PTOs, and they're getting so much from the parents. And that alone tells you how much the parent involvement makes a difference. Because, yes, the schools are going to receive funding, but their funding is limited. They're limited to what they have based on the amount of students they have. But the impact that parents can make is unbelievable. And some of these things don't cost any money. Some of these things, they can be an impact that can be made even from home, parents that are working at home, or parents that probably can't visit the school. But it's finding out ways to be involved. And it really takes also, I encourage, parents to be respectful, for teachers to be respectful, of each other, because we don't know what anyone is really going through until we really take the time to find out. And it's so quick, it's so easy to judge. And I find, I had a student who was, for instance, in my personal experience in teaching, who wasn't doing any work, would give me, sometimes just answer back with attitude like, well, I have a job and I don't even have time to do this work. And I just took the time to talk to the student and say, okay, so what's going on? How can I help? And then she looked at me like, what do you mean? See me help? He goes, how can I communicate this to benefit you? How can I communicate it to your parents? And I actually collaborating, with the child herself was unbelievable, because she realized that she hadn't even asked her parent for help. Her parent wasn't even aware of what was going on. And I think that's where the collaboration just becomes so, I'm thinking of the word, I don't know if the word is amazing, but there's a better word right now, and it'll come to me. But I just feel that it's breathtaking to see how much more effort students will put forth when they see that both the parents and the teachers really care about them. And I think that's one of the things that ParenTeen Moments wants to see happen, that we have, that we're putting out there that all these the organizations and our businesses, our community cares about our kids. And that we want to see these moments happen, because at the end of the day, what's left in our lives are the moments. So those are my 3 C's. Definitely commitment to be present, consistency in being present, and collaboration in staying present.
Wow. Commitment, consistency, and collaboration. It all makes perfect sense. And I loved your examples, Mery, because often people don't realize that all anyone wants is for someone to notice that they exist. And like you did, you said, how can I help? And then you were able to come up with a plan to do that. So tell me, if somebody wants to find out more about ParenTeen Moments, where can they get more information? And also repeat about the free stress test also, where they can get that information.
Absolutely. Well, the free stress test, it's very quick. It takes about 2 minutes, but definitely worth it. And it's definitely a great, tool to start up a conversation if you wanted to speak further with me. And you can get it on my website. It's www.parentteenmoments.com. This is a play on words because it's the word parent and the word teen together, one T, moments.com.
I love that because when you said it, ParenTeen Moments, it just flows and it makes perfect sense. So that's ParenTeen Moments. So it's ParenTeenMoments.com. And definitely go get that stress test. Take the couple minutes and find out, because sometimes just doing a simple exercise like that can really open your eyes to what's going on so that you can start to make headway into having a better relationship, not only with your teen, but even within yourself. So Mery Dominguez, any parting words before I let you go?
Well, I love that word, relationship that you just mentioned right now, and it's definitely about building the relationships, and the way to build a relationship is by connecting. Definitely, take the time to connect, and if you have a teen or, someone that has a teen, or if you are involved with, the schools or organizations, I invite you to reach out to ParenTeen Moments and let us support you in that journey of raising teens, because they are definitely the next leaders in our world, and they also will be the example to our younger children. So definitely, ParenTeen Moments is here to serve you. And if you are a business that loves what we're doing and a mission to also make an impact in today's world, then reach out to us. And I invite you to just continue to allow these events to continue to happen, and throughout our schools. I mean, I know we are changing the world one teen at a time, and I really urge you to reach out. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for spending time with me today, Mery. And everybody, remember, go check out ParenTeenMoments.com. Mery, thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. I'm also on Instagram under ParenTeen Moments, so definitely share your ParenTeen Moments on Instagram. We'd love to see.
This is Tami Patzer. Go make it a beautiful day.
You've been listening to Women Innovators with Tami Patzer. To learn more, please go to womeninnovatorsradio.com. And please do subscribe and share to spread the big messages and big missions to change the world.